High on every tourist's Turkey hit list, Cappadocia is a region of swirling volcanic rock landscapes, so strange that they look like they have been fashioned by mischievous elves. But in reality, it is the work of wind and water slowly whittling away the rock. Humans have settled in this area since at least the Bronze Age and have left their own mark on this wacky moonscape by burrowing into the soft volcanic rock to live. The star tourist attractions are the Cappadocian villages, carved out of the hillsides, the Byzantine-era rock-cut churches with dazzling frescoes, and the labyrinthine underground cities where early Christians once hid from invaders. Brimming with things to do for both nature lovers and history buffs, Cappadocia's valleys are one of Turkey's prime hiking and horse riding destinations, while aerial shots of the sinewy contours of those valleys have made the region one of the best places in the world to take a hot air balloon tour. Welcome back to another episode of Feetpin Travel. Join us on our journey around the world as we share our best travel tips, guides, and amazing experiences with you. If you're not a part of our community yet, hit the subscribe button now so you never miss out on our latest and greatest uploads. Remember, we travel not to escape life, but for life not to escape us. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at 10 reasons why Cappadocia is more than just a balloon flight destination. Let's get started. Number 1. Soar over the valleys in a hot air balloon. For many visitors, going for an early morning hot air balloon ride in Cappadocia is one of Turkey's highlights. Even though there is far more to Cappadocia than hot air ballooning, it's definitely a must-do. In the summer high season, over 100 hot air balloons take to the skies just after sunrise and supply passengers with bird's-eye views of the Central Valley area and their rock formations. Balloons fly daily throughout the year unless they're canceled due to inclement weather. The typical flight plan flies over the area containing Red, Rose, and Meskendir valleys, though sometimes the wind conditions mean you fly over other surrounding areas. Hot air balloon rides take around 1 hour, with deluxe packages lasting around 90 minutes. All tours include pickup and drop-off from your hotel, and normally also include a breakfast buffet. Note that if you are visiting Cappadocia from Istanbul specifically just to go hot air ballooning, you have to stay at least one night due to the early morning start of the balloon tours. Number 2. Visit the churches of Gorm Open Air Museum. Just outside the village of Gorm is the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Gorm Open Air Museum, a monastery cluster of rock-cut churches and monk cells that hold fabulous frescoes. The complex frescoes date from the 10th to 12th centuries, when Cappadocia was an important Byzantine religious center. There are several churches and chapels within the complex, but the most important include the Elmali Apple Church, with its Ascension fresco above the door, the Aziz Barbara, St. Barbara Chapel with its red ochre interior decoration, the Yılanlı Snake Church with its wall paintings of St. George and interesting fresco of the Hermetic hermaphrodite St. Onufrius, and the cavernous Tokali Buckle Church, which has a barrel-vaulted chamber completely covered in frescoes. The complex's highlight, though, is the Karanlık Dark Church, which holds superbly restored, colorful frescoes that are regarded as among the best surviving examples of mid-Byzantine art in the world. Number 3. Hike or horse ride in Red and Rose valleys. Cappadocia's most beautiful intertwining valleys lie between the villages of Gorm and Cappadocian. Here, the rolling and rippling rock faces arc out across the countryside in a palette of pastel pink, yellow, and orange cliffs, formed by volcanic explosions and millennia of wind and water erosion. Between the cliffs are lush orchards and vegetable plots still tended by local farmers, while carved into the rock are hidden churches and hermit hideouts, which date back to the Byzantine era. Hot air ballooning over the valleys gets all the glory, but there are plenty more activities in Cappadocia to help you get the best views of the valleys. There are dozens of hiking trails, so it's the perfect opportunity to grab your walking shoes and head out onto the paths. Hikes range from a couple of hours to all-day treks. Three particular cave churches to seek out within Rose Valley are the Collinloo Column Church, where columns were hewn out of the rock, Hackley Cross Church, with its mammoth cross carved into the cave ceiling, and the Hackley Three Cross Church, with its well-preserved ceiling carvings and interesting, though severely damaged, frescoes. Horse riding through this valley area is also very popular. Most rides are more suitable for intermediate riders rather than beginners due to the rocky terrain. Number 4. Gorm has been voted one of the most beautiful villages in the world by several travel magazines for good reason. The village is half buried into the hill, its stone house facades hiding a maze of cave rooms below. Gorm is the center of Cappadocia's tourism industry, and many of these traditional houses here have been turned into boutique cave hotels. The fresco-adorned El Nazar, Evil Eye Church and the Sackley Hidden Church are both accessed off Cappadocia, a short walk from the center on the way to Gorm Open Air Museum. The village is the main base for walkers itching to head out on a hike, with all the main valleys branching out from here, offering a plethora of trails that lead past kooky rock formations, known locally as fairy chimneys, and hidden cave churches up to panoramic viewpoints. Number 5. Head underground at Cappadocia and During-Kuyu. Cappadocia's underground cities first began to be chiseled out of the ground in the Bronze Age Hittite era, but they are most famous for their early Byzantine history, 6th and 7th centuries, when the region's Christians took to living underground for long periods to escape from Arab and Persian invaders. Cappadocia Underground City is Cappadocia's largest example, with a labyrinth of rooms connected by tunnels that extends for 8 levels. 4 of these levels can be explored by visitors. During-Kuyu Underground City is Cappadocia's deepest underground shelter. The tunnels here are quite claustrophobic in places, as they travel deeper and deeper into the ground. There is a cavernous chapel area, and many living and storage areas to explore in this below-ground maze. The ingenious ventilation shaft system used by During-Kuyu's inhabitants can also be seen. During-Kuyu and Cappadocia underground cities are close enough together to see both on a day trip, but if you only want to see one, Cappadocia is less popular with large tourist coach loads, so you're more likely to be able to explore the tunnels here unhindered by crowds. Heading underground into the mazy network of tunnels is a fascinating experience, but those with claustrophobia should be aware that some of the tunnels are exceedingly narrow. Number 6. Visit Zelf Open Air Museum, with its knobbly-topped rock cliffs speckled with cave dwellings. Walking through Zelf Open Air Museum is an experience of the Cappadocia of old. The settlement began life as a monastery in the 9th century, and by the 20th century was a thriving village. Due to erosion and rockfall dangers, the village had to be abandoned in 1952. Now the entire valley is a museum. There are a couple of interesting chapels to see, the Uzumlu Grape Church being the most intact, and a rather picturesque rock-cut mosque. But the real joy of this site is meandering down the cliffside paths, exploring the fire-blackened interiors of the cave dwellings, and staring out at the magnificent vistas over the surrounding countryside. Number 7. View the fairy chimneys of Passabaki. The hoodoos, known as fairy chimneys in Cappadocia, of Passabaki Valley have made it one of Cappadocia's most famous landmarks. In the early Byzantine period, a religious community who were disciples of Saint Simon Stylites, a 4th century monk, who spent his life on top of a pillar in northern Syria, devoted their lives to their own stylite practices here. Instead of pillars, though, they carved monk cells high up in the rock pinnacles to lead a hermitic life of prayer. One of these monk cells can still be visited. A trip to Passabaki Valley is easily combined with a visit to Zelf Open Air Museum, as the sites are about 2 kilometers apart on the same road. Number 8. Climb Achissar's Rock Citadel. The village of Achissar is dominated by a mammoth rock-cut fortress riddled with tunnels and caves. Just like the region's underground cities, this rocky outcrop provided villagers with protection from invaders during the Roman and Byzantine eras. The fortress can be climbed to the top, where you are rewarded with sweeping panoramas over the undulating valleys that surround the village. Achissar is also a popular base for visitors, with plenty of boutique cave hotel accommodation. The village is a good starting point for valley walks. In particular, trails through Pigeon Valley and White Valley run from here to Gorm, providing an easy scenic hike between the two villages. Number 9. Shop for local ceramics in Avanos. Avanos is a bustling provincial town beside the Kizilurmak River. The older part of the town winds up the hillside in a maze of cobblestone roads lined by dilapidated Ottoman mansions, which makes for an interesting stroll. But Avanos' main attraction is its pottery. This town has a pottery industry history that stretches back to the Hittite period, and now, like then, local artisans utilize the distinctive red clay of the Kizilurmak River for their craft. Potter workshops and shops are along the main road in the town center, beside the river, and many of their owners are happy to let you watch them work or have a go at creating a simple pot yourself. The town's Gure Ceramic Museum celebrates this pottery heritage with an astonishing collection of ceramics from across Turkey. The museum is worth a visit simply for its location, a series of caves carved underneath the Gure Pottery Workshop. Number 10. Visit Kayseri. Most visitors only see Kayseri on their way to and from the airport, but this bustling city has a handful of interesting Seljuk and Ottoman monuments for those with some spare time. The remnants of Kayseri Castle are right in the center of town, squeezed between modern shops and busy roads. Nearby is the well-preserved Sift Medrese in Mimar Sinan Park, which was one of the world's first medical schools and is now home to the Museum of Seljuk Civilization, with a beautifully curated collection of artifacts that ranges from textiles and jewelry to ceramics and stonework. Kayseri's archaeological museum is also worth a visit for its exhibits from the Hittite excavation sites of Kultep. Mount Erciyes glares down at you from wherever you are in the city. The town is only a short drive from the mountain, Cappadocia's highest, and its winter ski slopes. Just to the southeast of Kayseri is the Seljuk Caravanserai of Sultan Hani, a good stop if you're driving onwards to Sivas. With that, we've reached the end of this video, all about 10 reasons why Cappadocia is more than just a balloon flight destination. Have any of you guys been to Turkey before? Maybe you want to visit after watching this episode. Get involved and let us know in the comments section down below. If you enjoyed this one and found it interesting, remember to leave a like on the video so we know to make more for you. Also, subscribe to Feetpin Travel for even more amazing travel content, just like this video. As always, thanks for watching. See you again soon in another episode.